Hey everyone, this is FabryLoN and welcome back to a new video. Today it's time for the pickups of June and July, since we are, Sunday the 30th of July. So yeah, it sounds appropriate before the end of the month, and also because in August I'm away basically the entire month for work. So just get this video out of the way. Let's just adjust the camera. Okay, so pickups. Very happy about the games I managed to get. A lot of Vita love, which is always a great thing. A game for the 3DS that I'm super excited to show, especially because of some of my friends here on YouTube. They have recommended me this game for a long time. And then of course there is quite a few movies and a CD. So some music as well. So let's just start it. So let's start with the Vita games. Got 3 of them, and the first that we're going to show here is Tales of Hearts R. It's difficult for me to say the name altogether, but Tales of Hearts R. I'm getting in the. I really want to get into the Tales of series, and spoiler alert, I guess. I'm currently playing, and I'm towards the end of Tales of the Abyss on the 3DS. That's also why I haven't posted any new game discussion and stuff like that, because Tales of the Abyss is quite a long game. So, but I'm getting close to the end, I have to say, and I really wanted to get this on the Vita, because RPG on the Vita, it's always golden to me. And I've heard good things about it. I think this is a remake of an older Tales game, so Tales of Hearts. But very curious about it. And yeah, this is also because for a long time, the reason why I got it this just now, it's because for the longest time this game was quite expensive on Amazon and stuff, and I managed to get this for a decent price. So that made me very happy. The next one is I really wanted this game. I really don't know what to expect from it, but I'm super curious, super hyped, and cannot wait to play it sooner than later. And that is Danganronpa, what's that? Another episode, Ultra Despair Girls. Yeah, after I played Danganronpa 1 and 2, you can check my videos if you're interested. I'm absolutely in love with that series. I cannot wait for Danganronpa 3 in the fall. And in the meanwhile, I really wanted to try this. I know this is kind of the odd one in an already very odd series, I might add. But I know this is nothing like the other 2. This is like more of an action game in a way, like third person, that you have like to like use megaphones or stuff like that to kill Monokumas or something. I really don't know what to expect, but I cannot wait to play, because I cannot wait to dive into the Danganronpa universe again before the 3rd game. And oh my god, I cannot wait, because I think the main protagonist, since like there is what's her name? I mean, the Genocide Jack basically, and a new character. So very interested in Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls. Very curious about it. It might be like the weakest of the series, but I don't care. I just want to play another Danganronpa game. I just love those games so much. I love this series immensely. And finally, for the Vita, another game that I wanted to pick much earlier, but I just didn't have the chance, or just prioritized other Vita games. And very curious about it, I have to say. And I really want to play this soon. And that is Exit's Archives, The Other Side of the Sky. It's this new IP, I believe, a new series by Tri-Ace. That makes me very curious, because I like Tri-Ace very much for the Star Ocean series. So I heard kind of like mixed opinion, in the sense like I remember hearing that some people kind of dropped it, others said it's very good, but very curious about it, like a new IP on the Vita, it's of course gonna catch my interest. As I said, plus it's from Tri-Ace, that's always good. I'm very curious about it. Just the idea is like, on one fateful day, we were killed by God. Like God. Our story began as our lives ended. That sounds very interesting stuff to me, man. I cannot wait to try this. I'm very, very curious. So you can say like, a lot of, as I said, a lot of love for the Vita, but that's always good. There's so many other games I need for the Vita. And finally, for the games, like, kept the best for last, of course, the big one, on the 3DS. Since, of course, there are so many games that I need to pick for that amazing console. And I mean, Leo, Senkai, I did it. I finally pulled the trigger on this. Stella Glow, I had to buy this. I mean, just mainly for you. Of course, I always wanted to play this naturally. So, I mean, both Leo the Funny Nerd and Senkai, good friends of mine here on YouTube, highly recommended this game. I think both of them. I'm sure of Leo. I know he loves this, but I think also Senkai. They both said this is their favorite game on the 3DS. How can I ignore something like that? So, gonna play this very soon. I mean, as you see, like a lot of RPGs, big games, but that's just my bread and butter. This is a very noisy motorcycle. And yeah, Stella Glow, finally managed to get it, and cannot wait to get into it. That's it for the games. Oh my god, what's that? That's it for the games. We got also some musical effects in the background here. It's a bit of everything. Let's move to music, since there's also just one CD, so we can then move to movies. Music, this is really unexpected. Like, I was looking around the store in Bristol with my brother, and we decided to get this since we heard interesting recommendation about it. And that's Yazoo upstairs at Eric's. Yazoo were a British synth pop, synth rock, electronic rock band here in England in the 80s. And they were formed, but I cannot remember their names, but by a former member of the Depeche Mode, plus a singer. I cannot remember their names. I'm sorry about it. I'm terrible about it. But this is a really good album. I highly recommend this to all of you guys if you like that kind of music, of course. But there are really good songs if you like. Don't Go, it's an amazing #1 track. Two Pieces, Bad Connection, Only You, it's probably their most famous song. It's a really beautiful melody. And unfortunately, they only did 2 discs, but they were very, very popular at the time. So, and I think sometimes they had reunions and stuff like that. But Yazoo, I think they're known as Yaz in North America. Highly, highly recommended. A really awesome stuff from the early 80s. Fantastic, fantastic music. Like a lot of synthesizer, like really interesting electronic music. Very cool stuff. And let's move to the movies, since there are 11 of them. And let's start with kind of the bad taster here. I mean, I really try to like this as much as I can, but since recently actor Roger Moore passed away, I realized that I never saw any of his James Bond movies. I mean, or the James Bond movie where he played the role of 007. And they're generally known as some of the worst, and like very cheesy, corny, and but I thought, like, I never saw one. I always wanted to see at least one of them out of curiosity to see if they're actually that bad. And I decided to go with the only one who actually, because looking at the catalog of these movies, I was like, I don't know. And then I saw this one, and I remember there's of course one element that made it shine a bit more, and that is The Man with the Golden Gun. But this is probably the least favorite 007 movie among those that I own and saw. I mean, it's funny, sure, and of course the reason why I picked this is because there's Christopher Lee as the villain Scaramanga. Yeah, Scaramanga. and he's amazing. I mean, that's the only saving grace of this movie. It's Christopher Lee as Scaramanga. It's probably one of my favorite Bond villains of all time. He's that good, but I think they really wasted a huge opportunity of having such a interesting rival for Bond with Scaramanga, and that's a shame. And also, this is really, really corny stuff, and I'm saying that. Especially, there's this scene where there is a car chase in, I think they're in Thailand or something, just to see like Roger Moore doing kung fu and karate, because when was this? The 70s? Yeah, in the 70s there was this explosion of martial arts movies, so of course they slapped some martial arts there, and it's terrible. Plus there's a car chase, and that's fine and dandy, but all of a sudden there are the two cars are on two sides of the river, and Bond decides to jump from one side to the other, and when the car jump, it makes a stupid sound effect like like this. I was like, oh my god, that's awful. So I mean, it's not horrible. I know I'm bashing it a bit too much, and I usually like bad movies, and this is not horrible, as I say, but I was expecting a bit more. It's compared to other James Bond movies, it's not that good. And also, I stand by what I always thought. He's not a very good Bond, I think, and he's the one who played the role for the most part. And no, not very good. And speaking of Bond, I'm very disappointed that Daniel Craig is going to be playing James Bond for the next 007 movie. I mean, he's my favorite Bond, of course, but I had enough of him. I want something new. And also, like, between Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Spectre, Skyfall, and Spectre, I mean, we had an entire saga, because of course all movies needs to be like creating sagas and stuff like that, arcs and stuff like that. Especially with the way Spectre ended, that was it. It was time to move on to a different Bond and everything. Also because Daniel Craig is old. It's too old to play Bond to me. But of course they offer him a ton of money. And naturally, since he's not an idiot, he said yes. But he's just sold his soul for like, I mean, I don't blame him, but they offer like $150 million or something. Like, oh, of course. Even though before, just at the end of Spectre, he said that I had enough of 007. I want to move on. I'm sick and tired. And here you go. Take all this money. Oh yeah, sure. I'm going to play 007. Well, I mean, he's very good at playing it, but I just really wanted a change. Next one, I still need to watch this, and I'm very curious, and that it's Silent Running. For what I remember reading and hearing about this movie, this is basically WALL-E, 30 years before WALL-E, or something like that, about like this space mission with botanists in order to save plants and stuff like that in space with robots and I don't know much about it. I heard about it. I know it's a classic cult sci-fi movie. Managed to find this for steal, so cannot wait to watch it. I just didn't have the chance yet because, as I said, for this period of the year, I was so busy that sometimes at the end, at evenings, night, I was so tired that I didn't even want to watch movies. I just watched an anime episode or something like that, and that's it. Finally got this, even though it's still, I think, overpriced. You know, it's still very expensive because, of course, the demand for this movie is there, and rightly so. It's fantastic, and then, of course, it's Rogue One. Boy, I love this. This is fantastic. Such a phenomenal Star Wars side story. I have my concerns with Star Wars now, where it's headed and how it's handled, especially. But that might be a topic for another day, because, like, of course, I loved Episode 7. I friggin' love this, and I'm sure Episode 8 is gonna be great. But do we need that Han Solo movie? Of course not. I know the answer, but I don't want like a Star Wars movie every single year. They're kind of it's a bit too much. Don't treat Star Wars like these fucking superhero movies. But of course, I mean, they have to market this, so of course there's gonna be a Star Wars movie every 6 months in a while. But Rogue One, it's such a great, dark Star Wars movie. Probably the darkest. It's even darker than Empire Strikes Back. And especially, oh my god, the ending of the movie with Darth Vader. That was just like out of a slasher movie. That's maybe my favorite scene, with those soldiers like, oh, no, no, screaming like this. It was amazing. Darth Vader like butchering the soldiers like with this lightsaber. It was fantastic. But what a great movie. Absolutely phenomenal. I love Star Wars so much. That's why I'm concerned, because I love it. And it's not just a matter of having as much Star Wars movies as I can. I want quality stuff, and I surely don't care about young Han Solo. And they're just going to give the role to Game of Thrones actors. So like, let's move on. And to quote Emma Thompson, we move on to Peter O'Toole. No, that's don't listen to me. The next one, it's a really I have to have at least one of these movies every of my pickups video. I have to have this, like this. What the hell is this? I mean, this 9th configuration. I saw this cover, I saw the title, I was like, what is that? I read behind it. Now this sounds so curious, like a complete mind trip. Like this army psychiatrist is posted to a secluded gothic castle, housed in a military asylum. Inmates' delusion, free reign to express their fantasies. How can I not be intrigued by something like this? I think I'm gonna watch it tonight. Let's put it here, but I have no idea what that is. Never heard it, but it sounds so interesting and weird. Let's keep this for last, just because it's an anime movie. The rest, it's all normal movies, live action. Now this is very nice. It's a 2-for-1 combo. Star Trek. Finally managed to get the final Star Trek movie, Beyond. I saw that on cinemas, and I loved it. I love Star Trek Beyond. It's really good. But it's funny that I bought this at the same time together with another movie, which is the amazing Star Trek The Motion Picture. So in one go, I managed to get the first and the last Star Trek movie. And they're so completely different. I love that recently I did this Star Trek mini marathon by watching these two, like this one night and this other the following night, and it was amazing. I actually no, I watched Beyond first, which is super high action, special effects, amazing stuff. I love Star Trek Beyond. And then the following night I watched The Motion Picture, which is a very slow-paced movie. Answering question about the nature of life and what constitutes life. Such a great movie. I love it. I love the original series movies, even though I never saw the original series. But I love the first 6 movies, all of them, including The Final Frontier. That movie is amazing. I don't care what everybody says. I love The Final Frontier. Next, let's go with this. I saw this yesterday night, because I was really into the mood of a film noir, because as you know, it's one of my favorite movie genre. I love film noir of all kinds. And this caught my attention a while ago, and for a while I forgot about it, but then I saw it for next to nothing on Amazon, of course, like for 1 pence. So I said, well, let's give it a shot. And it's actually a pretty good neo-noir movie. It's a movie from the 90s. The Devil in a Blue Dress with Denzel Washington. Pretty standard and good noir movie with all that you expect. So like a corrupt policeman, dirty politician, a sort of femme fatale, and all of that. Great stuff. I really enjoyed it. A likable character with what's his name, Easy Rollins. Because all of this is from a popular book series. And the interesting thing is that he's not your detective, actually. He's just like your common guy who actually, for what I read after watching the movie, a little spoiler, I guess, but this is a very old movie, but at the end of the movie, after all of this happened, he decided he might become an actual private investigator. So it has some elements that are kind of out of the usual formulas of film noir, which is always good to have some variation. So if you're interested, give it a shot. It's a nice neo-noir movie with some slight differences, but it's a good movie. With there is what's his name? Where is it? Don Cheadle is it's amazing here. Is playing this guy named Mouse, a very trigger happy, crazy friend. It's hilarious. Always there with 2 guns ready to shoot everything that moves. Great stuff. Really good movie. Next, it's a interesting one, and that it's FabryLoN, The Line of Fire translate. This is an Italian movie, and this is very good. And it's these years are the anniversary of World War I, so I got a World War II movie. But I love both the world wars. So fascinating and so interesting. I love to read about them, watch movies about them. And FabryLoN is a pivotal moment in World War II, of course, and Italy played a big role, even though we lost the battle. There is this mythos in Italy. They say that we are proud of being defeated in such a way because we fought till the last man, basically. And also kind of emotional for me, since my grandfather actually took part in the battle. He was an officer during the war, and he was captured by the British during the battles of FabryLoN. And this is a really good war movie. That's where I also wanted to go. Because when you think about World War II movies, you're always like Saving Private Ryan and stuff like that. But I think there's better movies than that. Just to say, probably one of the best is The Thin Red Line. That movie is phenomenal, even though I don't like Terrence Malick. This is very good. I'm not saying it's like Saving Private Ryan quality, because I think it has like 1/100th of the budget. But it's very, because I think so. It's so interesting to see also what the other side was thinking, was doing during the war. I mean, always like it's not always about like the American troops like invading Europe to save it from the Nazis. But what about the Italians? What about the Japanese? What about the Germans themselves? I mean, it's so interesting to look at that. For example, one of my favorite, again, World War II movies, actually Letters from Iwo Jima, that depicts the Japanese point of view of one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. And this is kind of the same thing. I mean, it's not of that quality again, but for an Italian movie, pretty impressive, to say, especially up until the battle, because the end of the movie, which is, I would say, the last 20 minutes maybe of the movie, that they depict the great retreat throughout the desert. I don't know. I prefer the first part when you see all the suffering and the brute reality of the war on the naive rookie, of course, and the battle itself and all the craziness, and then the retreat. It's interesting to look at it, but I think the meat and potato of the movie is the first part. It's a really good one. If you manage to find it, give it a shot, because mainly for like cultural significance, I say, to see how we, for example, since I'm Italian, like what World War II was for us. This is a big deal in Italy, FabryLoN, even though we lost. And the Germans were there. It's not just us, of course, but it's a huge deal in Italy. Next, again, as you know, for the last couple of pickups video, I always at least have one Jackie Chan movie, and this is no exception. Jackie Chan movie of the by month, let's say, Project A. And I might say, it's hard to say actually, but this might be my favorite Jackie Chan movie. I love this. It was hilarious. The fight scenes were great. The characters were so likable, and it was so just funny. I love like this rivalry between the Coast Guards and the police, and how they make fun of each other, like the military salute, like this. This is fantastic. And those pirates, but it was like amazing fighting scenes, like always. Like the bicycle stuff, I mean, it's almost out of Buster Keaton. I mean, it was impressive slapstick comedy from Jackie. And it's also famous with these other 2 actors. It's kind of like the golden age of Jackie Chan movie when there was the 3 of them. And it's just, this is gold. I love it. I mean, Police Story is great. Project, what's the name? Rumble in the Bronx, Armor of God, all this stuff is fantastic. This might be my favorite. And I know there's a sequel, I might watch it. but fantastic movie. I loved it. The final movie, and then there's just one, and then we're done. I've heard about this, and recently a sequel was released in cinemas, and that was like, oh, I forgot to watch that for some reason, and that is John Wick. Just saw the first movie. This is phenomenal. This is amazing. One of the best action movies I saw recently. Keanu Reeves kicks ass in this, and oh my god, it was such a great movie. And the lore behind all of this Assassin's Guild or something like that, those gold coins, the hotel, and it was so fascinating, so interesting. I know there's the second movie. It's been released in DVD, and I really want to watch it. And I know they're going to do a third one because this is a very successful series. And I would say, rightly so. This is amazing stuff. If you haven't watched John Wick, I really highly recommend it. This is fantastic. Really, really good stuff. And finally, I kept the best for last, of course. Still waiting for one of these. Damn it, Amazon is incredibly slow with this movie. Because I bought two of them. And that is Slayer's Great. I think this is the should be the second or third of the Slayers movie. Slayers, it's my favorite anime series of all time, and the movies are very nice. They're really itching for the goofy and comedy side of Slayers. While on the series there's a lot of comedy, but there's also a lot of serious stuff. In the movies it's just comedy. This is hilarious. There's a battle of the golems between Lina and Naga. It's phenomenal. It's such a great stuff. And the funny thing is, like, I didn't know this because I bought it blindly because it was cheap. Because some Slayers movies are expensive. And if you notice, this is in German. Of course, I cannot speak German. I don't understand it. But the funny thing is, I put like the Japanese with German subtitles, so I couldn't understand a thing, even though I managed to follow the general idea of the story. But I found the German even more confusing than the Japanese in a way. It was like really weird, but yeah. But it was so funny to see the two golems, and like the small one for Lina was hilarious. But this is a fantastic stuff. If you never watched the Slayers, shame on you. Go watch the series now because it's great stuff. But the movies are really funny, a lot of fun, and I'm still dreaming for a new Slayer series. It's never going to happen. I know Slayers, it's something really from the 90s. But oh, I would love, or even a new movie, just like a really high quality, amazing Slayer movies. I just love Lina, Gauri, Amelia, Zelgadis, all that, the Slayers gang. It's a really, really special series to me, and the movies are hilarious. So that's it for this pickups. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time, and take care.